Hey everybody, welcome back to our Meaningful Monday series and Happy New Year. It is 2022, believe it or not. That took me a little bit to be able to say. I think that's actually the first time I said that out loud, which is a little strange because considering like yesterday feels like it was 2019. So yeah, it's January 3rd, 2022, and we're still in the middle of the pandemic. But there's a lot to talk about here today. I want to talk to you guys today about identifying your ideal client and why that's important to do. So, and anytime we start a business, people have a great business idea. They think, oh, this is the idea that's going to change the world, right? It's going to be the best thing in the world. It's the best thing since sliced bread, as people say. But sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not, right? An idea is only half of the equation because you could have the best service offering ever. You could have the best product ever. You could have the ideal game changer for the entire world in your mind and put it into paper and have a clear idea of what you want to do. But if you don't market it to the right people, if you don't start with the right people to talk to about it, it doesn't really matter, right? Take iPhones, for example, right? iPhones were marketed in 2008 when they first came out to people with cell phones, right? But how were they marketed? They weren't marketed as saying, oh, this is going to be another cell phone, or this is going to be a mobile phone with a touch screen. That wasn't all that they did. They specifically marketed to certain folks who they knew were, first of all, fans of Apple. Second of all, who would like the iPod idea, and that's really a big part of what sold it. Was touch screen, a whole new idea, all new technology. A lot of people didn't want to adopt it, didn't know anything about, right? And they started talking to people about it in a small group, and then expanded slowly. But they created what people call early adopters, right? And that's a segment of the market that loves to get into new technology, loves to get into new things, and is willing to try that out. There's a significant part of the market that waits for people to adopt it, for them to test out stuff and get all the bugs out of software or whatever product that comes out, and then they'll adopt. And those are just typical mid-market folks. And then there's late market folks, aka people who still to this day don't have a touchscreen phone and maybe have a flip phone from 1995 or 2005 when the phone came out. Anyway. My point though is this: you can have the best offering, but if you don't know who to offer it to, you're not going to get the sales you want. You're not going to get the business that you want. So you want to identify who your product or service is tailored to. Who does it benefit the most, or who could stand to benefit the most from it? And then start with that market as you want to go into that, even if it's a niche, small market. Now, people throw the word niche around a lot. As you got to pick your niche. You got to pick your niche. A niche doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular. There's no like definition for a niche other than it being relatively specific. So let me give you an example. As a coach, when I got out of Georgetown, one of the things people say is talking about your niche, right? Who do you want to serve? And some people went the route of doing a vertical. Like, for example, some people want to say that they want to coach attorneys, or some people want to coach people in the government, or they want to coach folks in technology. That's great, and that's totally fine. And you want to specify even more than that as you're getting into those kind of things, because just a vertical is not enough. But people think that that's the way it needs to look. Like you have to coach only within that one vertical, and that's your niche. But a niche can be many different things. A niche can be a kind of person. A niche can be someone who you're saying, oh, I want to coach high-performing leaders who have imposter syndrome. That's a niche by itself. It doesn't have to be in one particular vertical, right? You can also say something like you want to coach really empowered women who want to become executives, right? Mid-level clients who want to move to the executive level. That's another kind of niche. Does that specify a certain kind of industry? No, it doesn't. It's any industry, right? Because the same challenges they're having mindset-wise are probably going to be cut across industries. So the same thing I would say about your product offering. It doesn't have to be in particular industry. It doesn't have to be a particular, look like anything in particular, but you have to be specific about something and get as specific as you can be. Again, going back to the iPhone example, you want folks who love to listen to music, who love new technology, who want to value the interface that you have with your phone, right? And you want to be able to target to those folks in such a way that they can actually say, oh, I'm really excited to have this new technology. I'm really excited to use that new technology and show off new technology and have fun with it and test things out and have apps on my phone and have my iPod all on my phone, right? All my music all really accessible, really easy to use. Another example, right? And potentially a better example is a car. You talk about a sports car versus a Honda Civic. So Chevy Corvette, Honda Civic, right? The Corvette is for the enthusiast. You're not going to market a Corvette to a family of 5. All right, maybe the dad, if he doesn't even like crisis or has enough money to do it on his own and have like a second or third car, they might do that, right? But that's probably going to be more the minivan territory, right? Why is that? Because they have certain needs that need to be met. They have certain requirements for their vehicle that they need to get from point A to point B, relatively gas efficient, ideally, because they're probably a family of 5. They want to save some money in theory, right? These are not absolute rules, but this is how marketing segmentation happens, right? You look at the ideal client, you look at who you're talking about, ideal, right? And it can be more than one, but you want to start with at least one demographic. You got, like I said, parents or a dad of 3 kids with a wife, or the wife with the mother of 3 kids with a husband. Either one, there's not really a wrong way to do it. You can also market to both separately, but you create the different kinds of ads, right? Different kinds of campaigns or different kinds of marketing speak, right? The language of whatever you're doing has to appeal to that person. And how do you do that? You identify that person and you give them a name. They're called personas, right? So you, for example, you say, David dad or Mary mother, right? Might be a little bit of sorry, that was a more of a religious example that I'm plan to give. But for example, those could be the names of the people you want to give those personas names, right? Once you have the names and you say, okay, what are the qualities of this person? What do they believe, right? Who are they? What do they do on a day-to-day basis? What are the requirements for a vehicle? How often do they drive it? How far do they drive it? What do they need to put in the vehicle? What are they carrying all the time? These are all questions you want to ask if you're in that industry. So I would say that you adapt these questions for your industry, for your product or service, and do the same thing. It's the same. It's a quick, relatively straightforward analysis. It takes some time, actually. And I'm going to say quick. It's quick in terms of being simple. Sorry, not quick, but more simple. But it can take some time because you want to really delve into it and ask the questions seriously and give them thoughtful answers. The more thoughtful those answers are, the better your marketing is going to be. The better your marketing is going to be, the better your conversions are going to be when you try to have those sales conversations. If you, again, going back to the example, if you're trying to market a Corvette to a family of 5, they're going to say, okay, well, what if I have to pick the kids up from soccer practice? What happens when I have to go grocery shopping? That's not something Corvettes are typically known for doing, right? What if it's snowing and I got to take the kids to do something? I'll pick the kids up from somewhere and there's bad weather. A rear-wheel drive vehicle is not going to be what you want to drive with that, right? Those are the kind of examples that you got to think about when you're talking about your particular client and who you serve. So take that time and really establish who you want to serve effectively, because that's really going to determine how you build your business and how you market your business. If your marketing is tailored, if your marketing language, again, is tailored to engineers, and your product is meant, in your mind, is meant to serve single moms, you may have a little bit of a disconnect there, right? Because you're using all the technical terms for single mom. Same may be true if you're trying to market to dads watching the Super Bowl and you're putting your product on Lifetime. A little bit of disconnect there, right? If you also notice, if you watch TV, you'll notice certain ads, the commercials played during certain programs. That's not by accident. There's a reason that they have certain kind of ads, certain products and placements that happen during certain movies, during certain TV shows, during certain sports activities. They are there for a reason, because that's the demographic they've identified. This is most likely to purchase our products, and they do that on purpose. So make sure that you take that into account whenever you're creating your marketing plan, whenever you're creating your product and services, whenever you're building your website, right? Something as simple as that. That's something you want to factor into your process. If you don't factor it in, it's not like you're not going to succeed, but it will significantly delay the way you succeed. The more quickly you can iterate on that and build on that and get feedback and say, okay, you know what? Let me make sure that I'm serving the right people, or make sure that I'm actually tailoring your messaging to who I want to talk to, the faster you'll have those results. A little caveat to this is that sometimes you don't know who you need to use it with, right? Sometimes it's just an amazing idea. You want to get out there to the world and see what happens. That's okay as well. That's the situation where you want to do some testing and test the market a little bit, right? It's good if you do it properly. What I mean by that is be open to feedback. Don't just say, you know what, I'm marketing this Corvette to families of 5 and they're going to buy it. God damn it. I'm going to make them buy it. No, that's not going to work. If you have no idea who's going to buy the Corvette, put it out there into the world. See what you get back, right? That's the reason that they have these feedback groups, focus groups is what they called, right? They have focus groups of different demographics and seeing what the responses are like. They have beta testing of software products and seeing what happens, what the responses are like. Look at that feedback though. Get feedback from the market and see who responds how. Right? There's not necessarily a wrong way to respond to that. You can say, oh, you know what? I didn't realize that single people above the age of 50 and below the age of 70 are really into this car. So now let me change my marketing a little bit and tailor to that group. And also people from the age of 20 to 30 who are making above six figures are really interested in this car as well. So I'll have a separate marketing campaign for that group. You see how that works? So you're getting feedback from the market and you're actually paying attention to what that says. If you don't do that, you're again risking limiting your marketing to a market that doesn't really care or doesn't really appeal to what you're talking about. So be really careful about that. Don't get locked into something for yourself. You got to be able to iterate with the business and be very flexible. That's the way business works. That's the way the best business owners do it. Remember, Amazon started as reselling college textbooks online. That's all it started as. It was just a textbook store. Do you think that would do really well today in today's market? Who knows? But they wouldn't be the company, the behemoth they are right now if they did that. If they just stuck with that and never did anything differently. So keep that in mind when you're talking about your offerings and your products and services. That's all I've got for today, guys. So thanks again so much for joining today. I look forward to an amazing year. We've got some cool stuff planned for you. The No Limits Mastermind for Coaches kicks off tomorrow. If you're a coach out there listening to this and you are interested in looking into your business and growing your business this year, that's a great offer. It's going to be a really cool group, really amazing community we got set up. And yeah, check it out. Reach out to me. Let me know if you want to get started with that or find out more about it. I'm happy to answer questions about it. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy the snow out there for those of you who are in the DC area. It looks beautiful. So it's going to be beautiful until they start plowing and it gets all dirty and gross. So take care, guys. Stay safe. Awesome New Year. And yeah, make it a great one.